signed in the offseason. That tells you what the team felt about you. How did that make you feel as a player, knowing they wanted you here?
It made me feel great, man. This is probably the fastest I've got signed in a minute. So for them to do that, it just showed how much they really did like me and appreciate me being here. So I was excited about it.
What do you see as your role in this defense? I know it's a defense you like to play in, man. It fired you up coming off last year and getting a piece of this. What excites you most about this?
Just coming back, man. We got a lot of familiar faces. We got a lot of guys back on that defensive line. And just getting the second year with all of our guys to go in there and put it all together. I felt like we were clicking toward the mid to end of the season. And to just start off now with the same bunch of guys.
You've been around the league. You've been with a few teams. Do you ever think about, like, man, I was in Houston for more than 1 year, now it's going to be year 2. What would it mean for your career, your game? Because you've really enjoyed it here and developed.
I think if I could have got in this attack style defense early in my career, a lot more stats, a lot more different things going on. But I'm glad on the back end of my career, the next 4, 5, 6 years of my career, I'm glad I've been in attack style defense.
How does everybody rub off on one another when you guys are out here every day? So much talent. Everybody has the one goal. It's the concept of winning and being a team. It's not all individual guys. How's that rub off on everybody?
It's great, man. I think it's so much talent in here, man. So you get the best you. Everybody's pushing you. Everybody's going hard. So you don't have any error, no room for error. So you have to be there in your own purpose.
What's been your favorite part about adapting to being here in Houston? What do you like most about it? Like, not football related. What do you like most about it?
Earlier in my career, I was so far within California, going to New York and things like that. I'm originally from Mississippi, so to come back to some Southern hospitality, get some good Southern food, was really good.
How would you rate the food in this town?
Great. I just went to Ropar, had great oysters. I've been to Papados. That's my favorite place. I'm gonna go every time after a game, and just kind of going around tasting some good barbecue at the pit room. Just kind of tasting Houston around a little bit.
There you
see how it goes.
Being from Mississippi now, I've got in-laws that are from Mississippi too. I know food's a big deal. If you had the ultimate meal, what's your meal? What's your go-to that you kind of grew up with?
Mom and grandma always did fried chicken, collard greens, macaroni and cheese, and cornbread. That's my go-to.
Definitely.
Absolutely. Big cup of Kool-Aid, we're good to go. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And hobbies outside of football. You got to have a balanced life when you're away. This is a demanding sport, a job that requires a lot of your time. What's a hobby you like to do that kind of relaxes you?
I like fishing. The last year or so, in this offseason too, I've been developing my land, my 40 acres building. I got 4 stock ponds, and when I get back in the next week or so, I'm about to get 10 bred black Angus.
Hi, this is Aaron Wilson. We're talking today about Texans defensive tackle Mario Edwards Jr., one of the defending AFC South champions' best offseason signings, and here's why. I think he's a real value under a 2-year, $9.5 million contract. Very disruptive interior presence, dominant at times, and he was excellent for them before and after serving an NFL suspension, and earned this new contract from the Texans, and they committed to him pretty early in free agency. In the past, as he said, he's had to wait a little bit longer. And, you know, the conversation he had with myself and Randy McElvoy from KPRC2, our sports director, is very interesting because he feels like if he had been in this defense his entire career, this attacking style, that this could have been great for his career and his statistics. He's done very well nonetheless. And so he's a former second-round draft pick from Florida State. So he gets picked by the then Oakland Raiders, now the Las Vegas Raiders, second round. He's also played for the New York Giants, the New Orleans Saints, Chicago Bears, Jacksonville Jaguars, and Tennessee Titans. And he's a Texas guy. He's someone that's from Denton. His dad played for the Dallas Cowboys, Mario Edwards Sr. He went to Prosper High School, and he was an outstanding high school football player, All-American. Signs with the Seminoles after being a 5-star recruit, and plays immediately as a freshman for the Seminoles, and from there goes on to declare early for the draft. And so you look at, you know, some things he did last year. He only played in 13 games, but he was a starter, and he had the 3 sacks, he had the 12 solo tackles, and so I saw a lot of good things from him as far as getting off of blocks. He had 8 quarterback hits, and, you know, like I said, he was someone that I thought he could knock down passes. He had a couple of passes defensed, and he's just an overall good, alert, instinctive football player, a couple of fumble recoveries. And so I think that was a really good re-signing because this defensive line rotation, as he said, it is a deep group. So when you're talking about the interior, you're talking about Mario Edwards Jr., Tim Settle Jr., you've got Sheldon Rankins, you've got Foley Fadukasi, and really, you think about the outside guys, they get all the headlines with Daniil Hunter and Will Anderson Jr., rightfully so. They're Pro Bowl defensive ends that combined for 24 sacks last season. But look at the inside. Look at these things these guys are doing in the trenches, and watch them and watch Mario and his moves and how athletic he is for his size. Someone that once ran the 40-yard dash in 4.84 seconds and did 32 bench reps. So he's a really good athlete, and I think that he's a very valuable part of the defense. And when you listen to D'Amico Ryans talk about Mario, about what he did last season, they're just very happy with him and some of the things that he did. So you think about him, the disruption, playing on the other side of the line of scrimmage, being disruptive, very pleased with him. So he can play on the edge as, in terms of, lining up as a defensive end, but he's mostly an interior rusher. So last year, a relatively small investment, 1 year, $2 million and $200,000 signing, most $500,000 total guaranteed. This year, the bigger contract. I know that maybe that doesn't sound as big as, say, like Daniil Hunter. It's still a lot of money, and it's a significant investment. They don't just throw around money and hand out contracts to players who don't deserve them. Mario Edwards Jr. truly earned it, and for him to do that, despite having some NFL discipline last season, I think that says a lot. He had the 4-game suspension, violated NFL substance abuse policy, so that was something that was triggered from a violation, something that happened in North Texas, and now he's had no off-field problems other than this was sort of an older situation that once it came to light with the NFL and they wrapped their hands around it, it led to the suspension. But it wasn't something that happened while he was with the Texans, that kind of thing. That's why I'm trying to give some perspective and context to Mario Edwards Jr., and he's been, by all accounts, a really good presence in the locker room, and the guys like him. Sometimes he's someone that they turn to for music choices, kind of like locker room DJ, that kind of thing. So, yeah, good to kind of shadow Randy on this interview and talk to Mario a little bit. Talked to him also at the Frank Ross Covenant House, Texas Coaches Cuts event, and I caught up with him for a long time. So we get a chance to have a good conversation about him being back and congratulate him on his new contract. So, yeah, to have the familiarity with everything and for him to be back, it meant a lot to him. So this is something that for them, the Texans, to commit to Mario, you get a really highly motivated, grateful football player. Then in terms of role, the familiarity of the defensive line, these guys all have nicknames. They all have a lot of fun in terms of playing for Rod Wright and now Frank Ocam, the assistant defensive line coach. So it's a good, strong unit, and Mario is a vibrant part of that. So looking at everything that he's done, in terms of how the winning concept, all of that has gone together, as he talked about the swarm mentality. So he's talking D'Amico Ryans' language, and he's a guy that's a strong buy-in with Mario, and you can tell the rapport he has with the defensive architect of the Texans' so talented defense. So all bodes well for Mario Edwards Jr. I know we talk a lot sometimes about the bigger names or the skill players, but I like to talk to linemen. These guys have a lot of knowledge, and they give you a lot of perspective about what goes on, the insight into the game, and Mario Edwards Jr. provides that. So it's interesting to have this conversation and just hang out with him. And as he said, everybody pushes you. There's a lot of talent on this team, and everybody goes hard. No room for error, and you got to be on your game. And I think that, as the players say, you'll hear this cliche a lot, but cliches are truisms. Iron sharpens iron. The guys like each other. They have a good vibe going in this locker room, and some just good things happening with the Texans. And Mario Edwards Jr., he's a big part of that. So earlier in his career, he bounces around, and now I think he's really truly found a home. So he's under contract for the next 2 seasons. That would be 3 years in Houston. And last year, in his first season with the Texans, they win the AFC South title. They win a playoff game, and he's been on a lot of teams. He's been in some teams that have won, some teams that haven't. But yeah, I think Mario, that was a really good move by Texans general manager Nick Caserio to get him under contract. And you never want to really miss out on a guy. Sometimes you have to be patient. Sometimes these players get other opportunities. But having so many of these linemen back, it's a really strong group and underrated part of the defense. I know everybody says, well, Daniil and Will, like I said, I get it. But this defensive line, this defensive tackle rotation, outstanding. And Mario Edwards Jr., a big part of that. Good to hear from him about liking, Houston, liking Papado in the pit room. Who doesn't? Great restaurants. And as he said, he likes that Southern hospitality. And he's likes to go fishing. He's been developing his land, and he's got about 40 acres. He's got some stock barns. He's got all that kind of stuff. And his favorite meal, just getting to know him a little more, Mom and Grandma's fried chicken, collard greens, macaroni and cheese, cornbread, big cup of Kool-Aid. He says he's good to go. But yeah, real Southern gentleman type, Mario Edwards, and someone that I think is going to have an outstanding season for the Texans. So you look at, who starts. I get those questions a lot. I think they're all going to play a lot. But, look at last season with Mario. He played a significant amount of snaps, and, he's someone that I feel like, his best football is still in front of him. He started a dozen games for these guys, so it's going to be a competition. You have Tim Settle, you've got Sheldon Rankins, who's back, who's a former starter for the Texans, and Foley Fatukasi, who held it down and is coming off injuries. But Mario is healthy, in shape, and brings a lot to the table. So you look at what he did last year, and his ability as a run stopper, highly graded as a run stopper and as a pass rusher. And so he played a lot of snaps. I wanted to look this up. So he played 55% of the snaps. And that is the most he's played since his rookie year, when he was playing a lot of defensive end on the left side and right side for the Raiders, when he played 59% of the defensive snaps. So he played in 465 plays for the Texans, despite missing 4 games with the suspension. And you guys might remember the Sunday night game, how good he was against the Chicago Bears and chasing down Caleb Williams, one of the more athletic young quarterbacks. But he was all over him and made their offensive line look bad. But he does that to a lot of offensive linemen. Mario Edwards Jr., you talk about underrated? I think underrated. I put him in that category because I think he's just a really good overall football player. And, he's had a good career. You look at, some of the things he's done over the course of his career, in terms of career stats. So he has 24 and a half career sacks. That's not easy to get those sacks there when you're playing in the middle. And he's got 122 solo tackles. He's forced 4 fumbles. He's a good football player, good all-around guy in terms of what he can do for you. And he's an example, whether it's starting or whether it's depth, of the quality of the Texans defensive line. And I think it doesn't get talked about enough, the interior Texans defensive line. So that's what we're talking today about Mario Edwards Jr. And I want to thank you guys for liking, watching, subscribing here at the channel. Push the button. Please subscribe if this is your first time viewing it. Working on kind of making this as good a channel as possible. We're up to about 9,300 people. We hope to get to 10,000 soon and continue to bring you more and more content here. And of course, what I do on television at KPRC2 with Randy McElwood and Ari Alexander, and on click2houston.com, which of course is free of charge. And you can also check out my stuff. I'm on Twitter/X at AaronWilson_NFL, Instagram AaronWilson7128, and of course here, because you guys like YouTube, and so do I. I think YouTube's a good space for me. I'm enjoying it, and as a content creator, there's so many great creators around the NFL and here in Houston. So I recommend check out the other guys' channels. Everybody brings something different. They have their own niche. There's Seth Payne, there's Landry Locker, there's Cody Stutes. There's a lot of great content out there. So please check it out. And there's hopefully enough time for everybody to watch everybody and to see the different styles of, the videos that we make. And it's a lot of fun. And we all support each other and hope for good things for each other with these channels. So I think it's cool. It's kind of a spirit of sharing. And those guys give me good advice about YouTube, and it's kind of trial and error for me, so I've been learning. I wish I'd been making longer form videos last season, so I feel like I kind of missed an opportunity, but better late than never. And thanks for everybody that's been commenting, and I see your comments. I read them all. Appreciate it, whether they're good, bad, or indifferent. I read them all, and so yeah, thanks so much for the feedback and everybody that makes my channel what it is. So yeah, it's growing and it's going to get better and better because I'm committed to continue to improve and make the channel as good as possible. I've listened to all the comments, so we've added better lighting, we've added better microphone, and yeah, sometimes it takes me a little time with trial and error just to get better at it. But yeah, guys, thanks again. Appreciate you, and we will talk to you soon.